Hi, welcome to Sailing Liberty.
Today we're going to do a typical boat repair. It's a common concern. Soft spots on your deck. You might have one. You might look at a boat and wonder if it has one. You might want to find out if it has one. Well,
we have a simple system: tap, drill, and fill.
Agreed. And we're going to tap and teach you to tap and teach you to hear the problem of a soft deck. And once you know how to tap it, you can mark it. You can take a pencil with you if you're doing a survey and mark it with a pencil. If you're doing your own repairs, use a Sharpie. It'll last longer. And we're going to do all that, and we'll show you how on Sailing Liberty.
As I was going over the Cork and Kerry mountains, I met with Captain Farrell and his money he was counting. I first produced my pistol and then produced my rapier. Stand and deliver, for you are a bold deceiver. I said, ooh, Ramada, wait for the daddy-o. Wait for the daddy-o, there's whiskey in the jar.
Today we're going to finally take care of that soft spot on the lazarette. The previous owner told us about it, and since it was minimal, it didn't affect the price or the question of whether this yacht was the right one. It was a small amount. There is a little spot on the port side near the pump out that had already been repaired. It was the same kind of soft spot, very small. Most likely caused by the intrusion of water through the deck around a deck fitting. Back here, the area we're fixing today, this cleat's got to be the problem. It's the center of the soft spot. Well, it looks like the bedding compound is practically non-existent underneath. This is just a little bit of bedding put around it. We assume that the water came in through the screws that hold the cleat down. So we're going to take you step by step through the process. We're going to make a repair that should last the life of this boat. Pretty much no bedding compound on these surfaces anyway. So over the years it just probably wasted away. The water's been getting in ever since. You see the crazing stress lines from the softness you got here. The difference in the sound from the good solid core very easy to hear. One more time. Nice and solid by the edges of the deck. Dull where we're soft. But instead of letting it get any worse, we have the tarp on the boat right now and everything's dry. We're going to keep her covered up until this repair is complete. All right, so we're going to define our area to be repaired, but we're going to tap it out carefully. Slight difference counts. That's definitely bad there. So we'll just put a dot there. So anything in here is bad. So we'll go every... So basically it's just what you would think. It's all around this area, but it's a little bigger than we thought. We did have a deck fitting here at one point, so that could have also had intrusion. As you can see the shape there and the 4 holes that have been filled. Right there. So we'll do this whole area. And we pretty much feel like that's pretty dead too. You're going to need a lot of holes because we got to get a lot of airflow to dry out all this balsa. Plus we got to get a lot of epoxy in. We're going to fill every one of these holes to the top. We're going to lay a box fan down on top of it and just push air through it for a long time to get this wood dried out. The areas that are completely void are going to dry quickly, but the areas that still have balsa in them are going to dry very slow, just like they got wet very slow. So there's a capillary action that where the water migrates from the wetter areas to the drier areas, and this takes a lot of time. Just like it took years for the water to progress from those 4 screw holes to the rest of the soft or wet area of the deck. I'm going to use this drill bit to determine the depth. But, oh, I'm feeling a lot of nothing, of a big void space. And it's a thick deck. Wow. That's the back of the other fiberglass half. That goes through. Wow, that is a thick deck. That's my depth right there. Right there. And it's all hollow, all around. There's our depth. We'll take that depth and we'll subtract the smallest portion from it. I'm going to make a better gauge. I'll run this nut up this bolt. Right there it is. That's the other side of the sandwich. So then I'll put this nut down. That shows me my depth. Now subtract a little to be on the safe side. That's our depth. So, I'm going to come in here. Okay. Do a little test here. See the wood on there. Looks pretty good. Safe side, it's a little less. We never liked drilling holes in our boat, but here we go. We're about to drill 100. Wow. In this case, the more the better. So this drill is great because it has a fitting for a stopper. Look at that. Boom. I can go right in without worrying about going through the inner layer of fiberglass. Now, there are some holes here near the cleat. There are 4 holes that held the bolts for the cleat. They do go the whole way through. So they need to be backed up with tape so that our epoxy won't leak through into the boat. Well, we drilled a lot of holes and we found a lot of good evidence too. Let's take a look. Wow, look at the result. The outer holes don't really bring up anything because the core is wet, but it's still quite sound. So not much is even coming up, just a little bit of sawdust. But then you immediately get into a golden yellow balsa, but wet. You could squeeze those chunks and water is coming out. They are wet as heck. But boy, now we're looking at rotten wood. It is brown and rotten. Probably a little stinky too, honestly. And quite a bit of it, you know. This thing has been spreading for years. And then at the epicenter, you know, we see our stress cracks in the soft deck and we see nothing because you know what's in there? Nothing. It's full of air. We're going to change that. We're going to fill it with epoxy. And boy, that's going to be strong. So our tapping was right. Our area got big, but there's a reason it sounded dull because it was wet. So now we're going to get it vacuumed out. We're going to take a big old box fan and lay it right across the deck here and plug that sucker in and just let it run for a few weeks and see what happens. You know what's going to happen? It's going to get dry. We want everything totally dry. And then we're ready for epoxy. And that's the easy part, really.
So Tate teach me to do my first ever epoxy resin. And it is a 1-to-1 system in the West system, and it's 1 pump each, or 2 pumps each, or 3 pumps each. So it's hardener and epoxy resin.
Yeah, West system's great. You just pump it. Although every now and then a pump won't be a real pump, and you might have to is that a half a pump or almost a pump?
Yeah.
So that can be a little bit of gotcha. But 1 pump of each. Start with small batches. Also, large batches build up a lot of heat. So if you're making a really big repair, it's probably better to do small batches. But you got to keep moving because if you let it flash off, you're going to have a wax coat come up to the surface. If your balsa core or your plywood core that's gone was a 1/2 inch, or 3/4 inch, I mean, that's a lot of volume. So be ready for it. Don't be surprised when it doesn't fill up like in a couple batches. It might be like 8-10 batches.
So we have also this. What's that for?
This is silica thickener. That's how we thicken our epoxy.
We didn't use that one yet.
Yeah, we got to add that. We're gonna first you blend your epoxy, and you get it going, and then you add your thickener in. So we're gonna add a little thickener, and we're gonna get on deck and start to
How much we
break
had
it into
this?
holes. You just until you like the consistency. There's no rule about it.
Just how you feel.
Yeah, you want it to.
Feel
It can be
good.
anything from peanut butter to a nice thick maple syrup, let's say. Who knows? It's your call.
Just
Dealer's choice.
Okay, dealer's choice.
Yeah.
So how you feel good? How it gonna go and smear on
For the
house?
application,
Okay.
every application has a different thickness, or no thickness. We could even start with just some straight epoxy here, and go and see how it flows and get it into the holes. That's the main thing.
Okay.
That's
Are
good.
you
Let's
ready?
get off the boat. We gotta go. 'cause
Fix
it's
the
gonna-
deck. We're losing the light.
Wow, that was a lot of coats. It took us over 10 coats. I lost track of how many batches we made. I'm not going to rest on ceremony here. Just got to start squeegeeing it in, filling the holes. It's a big batch, so I'm going to just move really fast here. And the holes, it got some bubbles coming up.
So what was the drying time after you drilled it?
Well, I think it was actually almost a month. I mean, we tried to get back to it quicker, but it was under tarp. No rain was going to get on it. And we had a fan running 24 hours a day, blowing straight against it, laying flat on the holes here. And I mean, it's dry as a bone. This is perfect. So we're going to get this all smoothed in. Going to grab some towels and just kind of clean up our surface here so it's not ridiculous with just big old messy wet marks. Get a little texture.
I heard you don't like sanding the fiberglass.
No, I don't want to sand anything if I don't have to, that's for sure. So that looks good. And then when that hardens, 24 hours, that's it. All it needs is paint whenever we get around to it.
Are you
so.
washing it with the Dawn after
Oh yeah,
to
we'll
get the
scrub
wax
it.
off?
We'll scrub it with Dawn and soap and get the wax off, and then it'll be good for paint.
Okay.
Cool. All right, that's it. That's how you fix it. Get her fixed and take her sailing. Even just good enough is get it out on the water. Don't spend their whole life in the marina or on the hard. Beautiful. Prioritize your repairs and get on the water. There's our repair. Looking good. It's going to be solid. We'll get deck paint on it eventually. Right now, let it look yellow and strong. That's our area. It's fixed, solid for the life of the boat. Thanks for joining us. Hopefully you're going to learn how to find the soft spots with your tapping, and you'll know when you have a good deck and you know when there's some problem areas. Thanks for watching. If you like, comment. And please subscribe. We're a new channel. Every subscription counts. Thank you so much. And we look forward to seeing you on the next show. Sailing Liberty.